This video is all about how to sound more decisive and confident when you speak. Now, being indecisive or sounding indecisive when you speak is a common hurdle for many emerging leaders. Most of the time, it's because you overanalyze for fear of making the wrong decision, you're waiting for approval or permission, or you're unsure that you have the answer, so you want to see what other people are going to say first. But when you are indecisive in work conversations, it makes you look like you lack confidence in yourself, which in turn makes people question your capability at work. Basically, what happens is because you don't sound decisive or confident in what you're saying, other people don't believe in you. If you don't believe in yourself, why should other people believe in you? And belief in you, you want other people to believe in you as a leader. This is really important in your leadership journey. You absolutely need to establish this, especially if you want people in your team to follow you. They need to believe in you and they need to believe in the direction you're going in. So in order to help them believe in you, you need to sound decisive in what you say, in the direction you're going in everything you do and say. So being decisive is critical in leadership. And as Tony Robbins says, knowing how to be decisive projects confidence and charisma and is a trait of true leaders. So let's look at how you can be more decisive when you speak at work. And one of the key lessons that I need you to understand is that moving from questions to statements will absolutely help you sound more decisive. So when you sound indecisive, it's because you lack confidence in your decisions. You're waiting for approval from someone, or you're waiting for someone to give you the right answer. This insecurity that you're feeling often leads you to asking questions instead of giving statements or using statements. And this is quite often where the problem begins for most people, because questions can make you sound indecisive. Essentially, when you ask a question, you're asking for permission or you're asking somebody the answer so you can move to the next step. You're basically asking for approval because you don't have enough conviction or confidence in yourself to make that decision. Whereas statements, they make you sound more decisive. They make you sound like you are certain and that you're sure about the direction you're going in. You're not being passive. You're not waiting for approval. You're putting your want or your desire out there in a statement in a confident and assertive way. Now, of course, there is a time and a place for asking questions in the workplace. Questions can really help you to create a more inclusive workspace, a more inclusive atmosphere and environment with your team. But sometimes as a leader, you just need to sound decisive. You just need to sound confident and self-assured in what you're telling people. So I want to encourage you to move from questions to statements. If you are sure about something, if you have decided about something, I want you to tell other people in a statement. Don't use a question, don't look for approval, don't ask for permission. I want you to put your statement out there in an assertive and a confident way. And this whole video will help you do exactly that. I'm going to share with you some case studies that are going to help you move from asking questions to using statements to help you sound more decisive and confident when you speak. So I'm going to share with you two quick case studies. We're going to look at the sentence used and the words used that makes somebody sound indecisive and why it makes you sound indecisive. Then we're going to look at how you can fix it, how you can change it, what you can say so you sound more decisive. Case study 1. So in this example, I want you to imagine that you are a leader and you're in charge of organizing a presentation with two of your colleagues. And because you are the leader, you're the one who is in charge of delegating tasks and organizing all of the tasks that people need to do. So what you want to do here, ideally, is to give your team members confident instruction and assertive delegation so they know exactly what they need to do. But there is potential for you to be indecisive or potential for you to sound indecisive when you're doing this. And what commonly happens is you might defer the decision-making responsibility to those team members simply because you don't want to sound pushy, you don't want to sound bossy, or you don't want them to think you are an authoritative leader. Therefore, you ask questions instead of using confident statements when you delegate or when you tell those people what you want them to do. And you might sound something like this. Should we perhaps have Marguerite begin the presentation and then James, would you like to take over with point 1? Now, I don't know how you interpreted that sentence or how it sounded to you, but to me, it sounded really indecisive. It did not sound like you were a confident leader at all. So I want to delve in and take a look at what exactly makes this sentence sound so indecisive. Now, a couple of things to highlight here. When I say, should we perhaps have Marguerite begin the presentation? This sounds really indecisive for 2 reasons. The first is it's a question, and by using a question, as you've learned, you give your delegation power or decision-making power to your employees. As a leader and as a manager, you want to be really, really careful of doing this, especially when you are delegating tasks to them. The second reason it sounds really indecisive is when you use the word perhaps. And this is a type of filler word that's commonly used when we don't want to sound pushy or when we're seeking approval for our suggestion from the other person. Now, the last part of the sentence where I say, James, would you like to take over with point 1? This is again a question, which as you've learned and as I've just mentioned, it gives decision-making power to somebody else or decision-making power to the people in your team. Now, it's really important to note as a leader that you have decision-making power. This is your right. This is part of your role as a leader. This is not something that you should or that you want to delegate to other people in your team. Not all the time anyway. And also, you don't need approval for your suggestions. You are the leader. You have the right to make those suggestions. This comes with the role. It comes with the territory. So you don't need to ask for approval from your team for every suggestion that you have. Now, there are caveats for both of the points I just mentioned about. Of course, sometimes you may want to give decision-making power to the people in your team. You may also want to encourage them to make suggestions. This is obviously really important part of leadership, but sometimes you need to sound decisive. Sometimes you need to sound confident and sure of what you're saying and what you're doing. And when you ask questions, you don't sound like any of these things. So let's look at how we can change this sentence to make it more decisive. I would replace should we perhaps with let's. For example, let's have Marguerite begin the presentation. And I would replace James, would you like to take over with point 1? With James, I'd like you to take over with point 1. So do you see how both of these examples are a lot more decisive, they're a lot more certain, and they're a lot more assertive as well? Altogether, it would sound like this. Let's have Marguerite begin the presentation, and James, I'd like you to take over with point 1. Now, this sounds way more decisive and a lot more assertive than the other sentence I shared with you in this video. You're putting your suggestion out there in a direct way. You are not asking for approval. You're not waiting to see what other people think. You're being assertive and clear about what you want the people in your team to do. This is what's going to make you sound a lot more decisive when you speak. Let's look at another case study. Imagine that you and 3 other colleagues are organizing a fundraising event for your company. It's a bake sale and you have to organize together. You have to organize the tasks that everyone needs to do. So in this situation, it's a group effort. There isn't one particular person who is the leader of the group and who organizes everyone else. It is a group effort. This means that for you to get the job or the task that you want, you have to jump into the conversation. You have to put your hand up. You have to be very assertive and very confident about volunteering for the task that you really want to do. So the task that you want to do is to buy the ingredients for the bake sale. Now, if you were being indecisive about this, if you were communicating in an indecisive way, it would sound something like this. Would you all like me to buy the ingredients for the bake sale? Remember, you would use a question, not a statement. You would be asking for approval. You would be asking for permission from those other people in the group as to whether you can buy the ingredients or not. But if you want to switch that around and if you want to sound decisive instead of indecisive when you speak, you need to say something that is a lot more assertive. You don't want to ask a question. Remember, asking questions sentence makes you sound indecisive. Let's analyze this sentence and work out what exactly makes it sound so indecisive. So the part where you say, would you all like me to? As you've already learned in this video, it's a question. Using a question instead of a statement gives decision-making power to the other person, rendering you powerless. As a professional, and especially in this kind of situation, you have the right to volunteer for tasks that you want to do. This is your right. I know you might want to fit in with the group. I know you might not want to sound pushy or bossy, but if you give the decision-making power to other people, what generally happens is people will walk all over you. You won't get the opportunities that you want. You won't get the opportunities that you need in your career to really succeed and to really be visible. So you absolutely have the right to volunteer for tasks or volunteer for jobs or volunteer for projects that you want to do. It's not about being pushy. It's got nothing to do with being bossy, but it has everything to do with you putting your hand up for the opportunities that you need to succeed in your career. So let's look at this sentence again and see how we can make it sound more decisive. I would replace "would you like me to" with "what I will do is." For example, what I'll do is buy the ingredients for the bake sale and Kathy and Max can take the orders from the customers. Why this works so well is because you are communicating exactly what you want to do in an assertive way. You're not allowing other people to decide for you. You are putting your wants, your desires, your plans out there in a really confident way. If other people disagree with you, if other people want to do that task you've volunteered for, well, they need to disagree. They need to voice their opinion. And that is absolutely their right. It's your right to have your opinion. It's other people's right to have their opinion as well. And that is one of the key messages that I want you to walk away with from this video, especially when you are learning how to be more assertive in your communication style, that it is your right to voice your opinion. It's your right to say what you want, to say how you feel, to say what you've decided as well. This is your right. This is being assertive. This is being confident and charismatic as a leader, which, as Tony Robbins says, is a trait of a true leader. So I want you to switch from "could we" to "let's." Would you like me to should change to "what I will do is." And additional ones you haven't learnt yet are "I'll tell you what I propose," "how about we," or "I'd like to." Now, do you have any sentences or phrases that you like to use to help you sound more decisive in the workplace? If you do, let me know in the comments below because I know that we can all learn from them. If you liked what you learned in this video, then please hit this subscribe button and the notification bell below. It really helps to support my channel. Also, we've talked a lot about being assertive and speaking in a more confident way in this video. If that is something you want to delve deeper into, then you want to check out my Assertive Communication Skills Masterclass. It's currently available on Udemy. It's a video course, online video course that will definitely help you to become more assertive and more confident when you speak at home, but also at work. So I'll put a link in the description below, a discount link that you can check out. And if you want to learn how to speak in a more confident way and with more authority at work, then you need to watch this video right here. It will definitely help you out with those things. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and have a fantastic week.